The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
My name is Kyle Bowen, and we're talking about practice. And man, oh man, I am very, very, very happy about what I just read from a Jeff Pettersson tweet, okay? Straight up. Again, my name is Kyle Bowen, and I approve of this message.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
People, what did I say? Okay, what did I say yesterday and the day before that? Welcome to Locked On Canucks. My name is Kyle Bowen, produced out of the Don't Doze Art Lab, the place that gives you the West Coast bias whenever we want, and the show that gives you your Canucks every day, aka every minute, aka every second after Jeff Pettersson tweets out something like this, okay? Let's read it together, and then let's read some of the replies, and I want to give you my opinions on what I'm taking from this, because all I see is positivity, love, and a change, okay? Anyways, let's get right into it. This comes from Jeff Pettersson, legend. He says that there was a brief but testy exchange between Miller and Pettersson, okay? When I read that first, I read brief and zesty. 2024, you know, it is what it is. But in this case, it was brief but testy, right? JT Miller and Pettersson at Canucks practice. It was at an end of a practice drill. The two chopped at each other, and then Miller delivered a quick cross-check. Boom, bam, boom, bam. Miller cross-checks Pettersson, man. And then a few words were exchanged after that. Wasn't anything bigger than that, but it definitely looked like it had some heat. The two then went their separate ways. It didn't escalate to a point where coaches or teammates had to intervene. Okay, this wasn't Garland versus Joshua. This wasn't Willie Mitchell versus Ryan Kessler. This was just the top two centers on a competing team, a potential elite team, again, competing hard in practice. And we keep talking about it, right? These practice habits that they chose over Connor Bedard years and years and years ago. Well, they're practicing hard off a 3-game winning streak at the top of the season. They should be feeling good, but it's pretty clear. Yes, it's right in front of us that this team isn't content with what happened last year and what's been happening in their own zone to start this season, thus making every detail count in practice, the place where you get better, the place where champions are born, right? It's what you do on your off days, quote unquote, in the world of sports, okay? It's the fine details. And I'm telling you, the competitive nature of this group is on full display. It's apparent that the culture has completely changed. And I feel like this has a lot to do with a guy who wasn't involved in this skirmish, and that's Quinn Hughes. We heard what Quinn Hughes was referred to by Rick Tocchet after the game yesterday, right? A little bit of a reference there made to Sidney Crosby. Again, Crosby, the dude, right? The dude who takes practice seriously. Every shift matters in those times. He's setting the tone, the hardest worker. You see the two assistant captains here working their ass off, doing their thing, getting heaty, competing, not taking minutes off, because this is a mental game, right? We're not talking about Pettersson, and we will specifically do that in a couple minutes, but we're not talking about Pettersson solely based on this whole notion that, again, it's the details, it's the mental game, it's preparing for the battle, right? Preparing to get further than they did last year, and it's all these little things that will get them to that point. It's a beautiful thing knowing that this team that's just been good for like 10 seconds still cares that much about practice, okay, to go that hard and understand that that's the type of energy needed in the dance and going into Game 7 of the regular season. There's still a lot to prove here in Vancouver, and it's a cool thing to see how hard this team is working, again, day in and day out. We saw what Garland said after the game, too, yesterday. The dude played a hell of a game, one of his best games while, being on this hot streak of his, and the first thing he did was quote unquote talk down on the team based on how sloppy they looked. Okay, we heard the same thing from Tyler Myers after he was asked about his between the leg pass in Philadelphia during his 1000th game, okay? Like, one of the first sentences that came out of his mouth was the fact that he wasn't good in the third period. Now we're seeing this. Speaking of seeing this, right? This tweet. Let me read some of the replies on Twitter, a different place than YouTube and the podcast world. But man, oh man, people just going all over the place, man, taking this way too seriously. Okay, look at this from Yan. Okay, replying to Jeff Patterson's tweet. He's asking Jeff if Pettersson has a strong work ethic in practice. Okay, does he battle hard? And it's funny how you could watch every single Canucks game and still have to ask this question. Okay, if you've watched Pettersson, to his fault, sometimes he's always trying hard. Okay, sometimes too hard. But since he's gotten here, the work ethic's always been there. Gretzky alluded to his work ethic. Okay, being top notch. The dude's a hustler. And during this warm up for Pettersson over the last 4 games, it started in like the second period in Tampa. There's been this apparent a pep in his step. Okay, finishing all his checks, playing hard along the boards, doing all the little things. Now he's got points in back-to-back games. You don't have to ask about Pettersson's practice habits, okay? For real. This reply from Chris saying that JT Miller is doing his best to get the spark out of Pettersson, right? A lot of people saying that. I feel as if the comments on this live broadcast are saying that, right? And Anthem is saying that they're pushing each other to be better. Of course they are. And speaking of that spark, what better person to get it from than JT Miller? No, this is not a alpha thing. This is not I'm a lot older than you and I'm this stoic, angry competitor. And JT Miller, like you got to learn from me. It's just a statement based on trajectory. And off the jump, yeah, their trajectories look so different right when they come into the league. But man, oh man, look at what JT Miller's had to go through to get to this point where he's a top 10 NHL center. You know what I'm saying? Look at the energy that dude plays with. Look at the evolution in his game, okay? Look at the slumps that this guy's gone through. Miller could teach Pettersson a thing or two to get out of these ruts. Because here's the thing, okay? Ruts happen and life happens, but it is unordinary for a team that, again, is learning how to win games. Still needing to prove a lot that they're contenders and that they're actually good. It is unordinary and not good enough for one of their best players to quote unquote take 30 games off. Straight up, it's not good enough. And I'm not saying that's what happened here during this confrontation. Like, come on, they're battling hard. Who knows what happened in the corner? We're just on YouTube. These guys are playing, okay? Practice. We're talking about practice. Things happen, but it wouldn't surprise me if there's some of that energy, okay? Some of that aura in that room. Like, yo, let's go. Get better now. You're almost there. You got to do more, though. Again, it's good to have 2 assists over your last 4 games and, work hard to do your thing. But at the end of the day, they need so much more from you. And a strong week of practice ahead, a lot of time to, I wouldn't say coast until Saturday, but a lot of time to prepare yourself. And they want to prepare themselves the right way. And again, Pettersson just coming off 4 straight decent games. I would give him like 6 to 8 out of 10s on every single one of those games. I know the bar is low right now, but it's a good reminder that you need to stay sharp this week, especially Pettersson, because you got to keep building up the wins, building up the good games, stacking them up. Like Saturday, Hockey Night in Canada, Crosby, Malkin in town. Like we've seen it in the past in recent history. We can't see it again. We can't see a day off there. And just maybe, yes, maybe, this Pettersson Miller thing, promotes a good week. A strong week, a competitive week at practice. Again, that's where you win championships, man. Now, trust me. Again, reading that book. I'm glad Captain Quinn Hughes is reading books, okay? This is the book, right? The Franchise, written by Craig Custance, okay, from The Athletic. It's the business of building winning teams, okay? You think I'm joking about practice? I'm not. It really starts there. Hey, I'm reading this other book by Nazem Kadri, okay? I think it's called The Dreamer. Come on, it's the details, man. The Canucks practicing better than ever. I like that. Okay, let's keep reading the replies, though, from Jeff Patterson's tweet, because it's funny, man. Look at this from Steve saying that Horvat would have been massaging him and petting him like a puppy, okay? Again, this culture that the Vancouver Canucks have, started to build here over the last year and a half, right? It's so much harder. It's so much Rick Tocchet-esque. Quinn Hughes, JT Miller, so much more like Rick Tocchet than Bo Horvat. And this language that the leaders at the top are speaking, it's starting to cement itself, okay? For real. Still a lot to prove, but the Canucks are in line to be like one of the hardest working teams in hockey. Look at this comment from James, okay, saying that's good. Someone needs to wake the kid up. I don't think that's the case here. I think Pettersson has, quote unquote, woken up. He's getting there, but he needs a reminder that, again, like, this week, this practice got to be something. We got to show up every single game. And dude, I'm not reaching. This is what I've been told via the media, not behind the scenes. This is Rick Tocchet saying these things, right? Like, remember when he alluded to the fact that he would like to see Pettersson, I don't know, like do some extra work to reach that Crosby level, doing all the little things, the details, right? That extra stuff. These moments happen. I'm not saying that Pettersson's a bad practice player. It's the complete opposite, okay? Even Jeff Pettersson during the replies confirmed to that dude who questioned, okay? Like, Pettersson's work ethic cannot be questioned. But again, those little things. And I think the importance of competing this week at practice in preparation for this new stretch of games without your number one goaltender and still missing Dakota Joshua and, struggling on defense, it's like really, really important. Straight up, man. It's an important time of the season. Pick up these points. Man, oh man. Anyways, more of these replies are in line with, trying to get him, trying to get Pettersson going. JT Miller lighting that fire. JT for captain. And, yeah. Some chirps too, okay? PD probably went into the corner and cried. Come on, dude. Pettersson's not crying. Come on, guys. Anyways, let's read some of your comments, okay? Screw those other comments. Before we get out of here, JT Miller, Pettersson, proving a point at practice, okay? Look at Kurt Richardson, okay? Miller must have been trying to take Pettersson's phone away. Yo, Elliot Friedman and company, okay? And that company includes myself. Been talking about that a lot recently. Elliot Friedman, I wouldn't say confirming that point, right, about the phone and the social media usage, but, doing what he did on 32 Thoughts makes it more of a quote-unquote thing. And that comment about ripping Pettersson's phone, thus leading to this argument, is it's funny, man. It's funny, man. What a fascinating team. Real talk. Man, oh man. Lloyd saying, good evening, y'all. Hey, good evening to you. Real talk. Infamous saying that Pettersson scores next game. Why not, man? Why not? Get better and better each game. Again, it really only matters in April. But get better and better each game. And make sure you're at a point that when Edmonton comes to town, November 9th, man, oh man, you're that guy. Because I would love to see Pettersson become a favorite collectively worldwide around that time, okay? Look at this comment from Henny, okay? JT Miller is a stat patter. Man, oh man, I don't think so. It just comes to him, for real. The offense follows that guy. And that's what happens when you're uber confident, right? I think when you're someone who doesn't let the noise get to you, and obviously this is the case with Miller because I'm pretty sure this guy doesn't have a cell phone. But when you don't allow the noise to get to you, you allow less doubt to creep in. And when less doubt is in your soul, in your universe, you're able to lean on realization, right? And the realization is that you just got to be yourself to get yourself out of this rut. You got to remind yourself that you're that dog. And sometimes when Miller is struggling, he doesn't strip it down. He doesn't get to the basics. And that's why we see like 5 or 6 or 7 turnovers before he cleans his game up, right? Like critical mistakes. But at the end of the day, I think that is still a faster route to find yourself again and get your confidence back when you don't have to worry about A, B, C, and D to find yourself and just, you just focus on breaking out of it yourself based on the realization of you being that guy. It's something that we talked about with Pettersson, right? Be that guy. Remind yourself, you that mother effer. Okay? Gretzky's favorite player 5 years ago. All in all, Miller, man, even when he's not playing at his best, he's able to, get the points because he's looking for it. He's pushing the issue. He's not down on himself. The points follow JT Miller. What a player. What a player. Anyways, look at this comment from Darling. I think we're getting some other people in here, okay? Asking us how many cups the Canucks have won during their tenure in the league. Come on, 0. But don't worry, Quinn Hughes has the city reading books. If Quinn Hughes is reading books, you don't think the management group is reading books? They're going to figure this out, okay? It's different out here. More champions actually taking care of this team more than ever. We good. We ain't worried. And it starts at practice, okay? When we look back at how we won the Stanley Cup, I want you to look back at this practice being the one that signaled hope that this year, again, could be our year. Anywho, my name is Kyle Bound, KYLEBHAWAN, man oh man. One left to you and you, and you and you, and you and you. One last comment. Lloyd saying that Connor Garland reminds him of Stan Smeel. That must be a heart comparison, right? Look at this comment too. I can't get out of here, man. Just reading your comments. Infamous saying that in the building at Rogers Arena, the fans chant JT Miller. And they also chant, let's go Petey. Think of the difference right there. Infamous, man. Go for a walk, okay? We don't have to dissect poetry. Canucks just won 3 straight games. Go for a walk, yo. Listen to some jazz. Smell the roses. But you're onto something, okay? I know. You know what? At the end of the day, it was a beautiful thing to see, actually. Way back when the fan base here in Vancouver, who apparently is a hard fan base to please, blah, 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 was literally trying to get Pettersson out of his slump by giving him ultimately what he deserves. And I know that's a crazy thing to say because as fans, we expect a lot. But man, oh man, this guy's playing with tendonitis, man. Tendonitis trying his best for the team, for the blue and green, for your heart, man. Let's support him no matter what. I know it sounds hippy-dippy, and I'm contradicting myself. Man, oh man, dude, now he's getting cross-checked in the back by JT Miller. Okay, I don't know if it was in the back. That's what happens when you have a mic in the hand, okay? You know what? It's time to get out of here. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the show. One love to practice habits. I hope you practice more in this thing called your life. One love to the Locked On Podcast Network. Again, your culture every day, your team every day, your Canucks every day over here on this side. My name's Kyle Bowen. Have a good morning, a good afternoon, a good night. If you're not watching this live, then I really don't know when you're paying attention to this. But if you are, we truly do appreciate it. Peace.